Two tornadoes just hours apart in a state not used to such extreme weather.
We've lost everything. We have nothing. We have what we have on our back right here.
We're live in Washington Terrace and Panguitch as people start to clean up.
The same storm system brought heavy flooding to eastern Utah. We'll look at how much water surged through area rivers.
Two tornadoes yesterday, a funnel cloud today. Any more severe weather in the forecast? We'll let you know.
Then, after weeks of investigating an arrest in several Salt Lake County arson cases, how investigators tracked down their guy.
And the Trojans ruined a Ute winning streak last season. We're live as the teams prepare for a rematch tonight.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13's Live at 5.
Two communities hundreds of miles apart are picking up the pieces today after tornadoes touched down. The National Weather Service confirms both twisters were EF1s with top wind speeds of about 110 miles an hour. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bob Evans.
And I'm Hope Woodside. This afternoon, people in Panguitch and Washington Terrace are focusing on cleaning up after powerful storms left lots of damage behind. We have team coverage of the aftermath and cleanup this afternoon.
Fox 13's Aubrey McKay is in Panguitch, and Fox 13's Beck Bolton is in the Weather Center tracking what's coming.
But we're going to begin with Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher in Washington Terrace, where the governor has just toured the tornado damage. Lauren.
Right, Bob and Hope, the governor came out here this afternoon, and what he saw, I'll show you now, some improvement on this scene. You can see there's plywood now on the windows. A lot of the debris has been picked up, but there's still a lot more to go. The governor, Weber County Sheriff's Office, and others walked around from home to home while the county explained what specifically crews did today. They said more than 400 volunteers showed up to help the efforts after that tornado ripped through last night, leaving a dozen families homeless here. Now, despite the destruction, Governor Herbert said he is encouraged by what he saw walking around.
I came here expecting to see a lot of debris. You know, kind of the war zone we've seen in other times with some of our storms. And I come here and it's mostly all cleaned up. And so it just tells me that the people in charge here are really doing good things.
Now, as volunteers have gone home, but this evening there are still crews here just trying to make this area safe before the families can focus on the rest of cleanup. Now, I'm told that a lot of people came from all over, not just to jump in and help, to also bring clothing, food, and water, so these families here know that they are not alone. And the Red Cross is also going around touring the damage today to make sure that everybody gets the help they need as they start to clean up. Live in Washington, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A second EF1 tornado touched down in Panguitch yesterday afternoon. While this one didn't cause as much damage, it definitely shook people up in the small town. Fox 13's Aubrey McKay is in Panguitch with how they're coming together now. Aubrey.
Hi, Bob and Hope. Yeah, this community cleaning up after a second tornado has touched down in less than a month. Homeowners working together to help one another.
She actually barely got to the house probably 5 minutes before the storm hit, and so she's pretty lucky.
That storm, an EF1 tornado with winds up to 110 miles an hour.
My daughter called and said a tornado hit her house. I didn't believe her until she started screaming about our cars. And yeah, I then started believing.
The Cooper family and the town of Panguitch are safe, though the tornado destroyed several cars and damaged some homes.
I had no idea what to do. We were in a mess, and, excuse me, the whole town, the whole county, all of our friends did all this.
30 truckloads of debris all around their home, cleaned up quickly by a town coming together.
It's just amazing. I expected 3 or 4 days, and we did it in 3 or 4 hours, and they did everything.
And it wasn't just their friends and neighbors. Many high school students were let out of school early to come and help.
I've never seen like it. We had hundreds of people at different times. The high school, all the kids from the high school, our little high school, I didn't hear a complaint out of any kid.
In addition, people with machinery and equipment stepped in, donating their time and services too.
I'm sorry, but it's all about what they did. It's not about the tornado and the destruction. We can fix all that, but this community fixed a lot of things too.
Now, this community has also come together to help businesses. Now, as you can see, the building behind me, the roof is completely torn off. Now, thankfully, no one was hurt, but coming up tonight at 9, we'll talk to the owner of this business. For now, live in Panguitch, Aubrey McKay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now, the wild weather continued for a while earlier today. Fox 13 News viewer Candy Mendez sent us this video of what looks like a funnel cloud over American Fork this morning. It formed just after 7 o'clock but never touched down. Witnesses say it only stuck around for a few minutes.
Here's another funnel cloud that developed over Carbon County at about noon today. This one appeared between Price and Green River. It too did not touch down.
All right, let's go over to Fox 13's Breck Bolton in the Weather Center. Breck, are these funnel clouds evidence of more severe weather?
Well, as we look at these funnel clouds, and at least as we're looking at the video and the movement, these are what we'd call cold air funnel clouds. What happens as we're bringing in the colder air in the upper level is that cold air does sink. Sometimes it causes these funnel clouds where typically they don't hit the ground. If they do, the speed or wind speeds are not too severe, maybe upwards of 70, 75 miles per hour. They usually do not cause hardly any damage, but they're amazing to see. And of course, this has been amazing weather here over the past couple of days, and we're still holding on to the storm. Less active weather, I should say, not quite as severe as we saw yesterday. But let's take a look at what's going on right now. Sky Tracker, Doppler radar across the state, revealing that we do have some shower activity in Utah County. Notice the colors, though, a little bit more light. So this is a light to a moderate rainfall. But as you push further northward, moving through Salt Lake, Tooele valleys, the showers, well, as you can see, darker greens, heavier rain. As we move even further northward, you're seeing that line of yellow pushing its way through Ogden right now. Now, on my settings with Doppler radar, I'm checking the lightning, I'm checking hail, I'm checking rotation. It's not showing up anywhere on the map. It is, though, revealing, though, as you can see, heavy rain showers, which will continue to be a factor here over the next few hours. Now, outside right now, take a look at these temperatures. We're in the 40s across northern Utah, so bringing in some cold air, pushing its way through across the state. And as we look at your hour-by-hour forecast along the Wasatch Front, rain will continue on overnight, lingering on into tomorrow morning. The big question is, how long are we going to be holding on to this storm? Plus, any more severe weather heading into the weekend? We'll let you know coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Breck. Straight line winds hit Layton at about the same time that tornado touched down in Washington Terrace. Fox 13's Tamara Vaifanua spoke with folks who are now cleaning up the mess.
The day after high winds pushed through the city of Layton, knocking down trees and power lines, people are now assessing the damage to their homes and businesses and assessing the cost. A dangerous storm system caused major damage to Debbie Sodenkamp's home in Layton Thursday afternoon.
Took out our tree, carport, and our backyard tree.
The storm impacted folks living on the west side of the city. It knocked out power to thousands of homes in Davis and Weber counties. Today, Rocky Mountain power crews worked quickly to put power poles back up along 2200 West. They brought in additional crews from Idaho and Wyoming to help restore power quickly.
We have had an amazing amount of damage. Lines down, poles down, debris that has blown into the power lines, trees that have torn down power lines. All of that has to be fixed.
It's devastating for us.
At Swan Lake Golf Course, hundreds of trees toppled over during the storm and broke water lines. The privately owned business says it will take time and a lot of money until they can reopen.
Like I told our superintendent, look for the bright side. At least there's going to be a lot less leaves to pick up.
City leaders are also trying to pick up the pieces. Several of their parks sustained some major damage.
We've been very fortunate as this storm came through that really no one was injured seriously.
Once power is restored, they'll have a better estimate on the total costs.
The sun will come out, and I think that we need to just weather this here for another day or so, and then we can get to the cleanup part, and we'll get everything back together and get ready for the winter.
If you live in Layton, Clearfield, and Syracuse, you can take your clean green debris to the landfill, and city leaders will pick up the tab. All you need to do is show your driver's license to prove where you live. In Layton, Tamara Vaifanua, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Stay with Fox 13 News for continuing coverage as cleanup continues from the storm. We're going to have updates on Facebook, Twitter, and fox13now.com. New at 5, the man accused of calling in a bomb threat at a local elementary school was officially charged today. Police say Christopher Craig called in the threat to Eagle Valley Elementary School Monday. He was arrested later that day. Craig now faces charges, including threat of terrorism, a second-degree felony. He's currently being held without bail.
After a months-long investigation, a man is behind bars accused of starting at least a dozen grass fires in Salt Lake County over the summer. 46-year-old Brian Kelly of West Jordan was arrested last night. The Unified Fire Authority says Kelly started all of the fires. He's facing 12 counts of arson. Fox 13's Robert Boyd will have more on the investigation at 5:30.
2 cars, including a police cruiser, hit a man crossing the street overnight and died from his injuries. Today, Salt Lake City police say a unified police officer was driving on 13th South about 11 o'clock last night when a man stepped out in front of his cruiser. The impact of the collision sent the man into oncoming traffic, where he was then hit by an SUV. Detectives say visibility was a big issue.
The officer didn't see the pedestrian in the roadway until he actually struck him. It's obviously raining very hard. It looks like there's been some power out in the area.
Now, police say the pedestrian was not using a crosswalk. The victim has not been identified, but is believed to be about 30 years old. Police in southern Utah are thanking alert neighbors for helping them catch 2 suspected package thieves. Police in Santa Clara and Ivins arrested 39-year-old Michael Marcelino and 31-year-old Lindsay Marcelino on Tuesday. Witnesses say they saw the 2 taking 7 packages from a neighbor's doorstep and called 911. The St. George News reports police found the packages in the couple's van. Both face 7 counts of mail theft.
While tornadoes and strong winds caused damage in some areas yesterday, flooding was the big problem in eastern Utah. Just how much water flowed down the Price River? Coming up.
New video released by the family of the man shot and killed by police, shedding some light on what happened.
And months of personal attacks. After months of personal attacks, Ted Cruz is changing his tune about Donald Trump. Why he's now endorsing the Donald for president. Coming up.
You're watching Fox 13 News. Let's connect.
For the 3rd night in a row, police are expecting protests on the streets of Charlotte, North Carolina over the shooting of a black man.
Today, new video is providing more information about that shooting. Fox's Joel Waldman has more.
Authorities here in Charlotte preparing for more unrest this evening. Meanwhile, Keith Scott's family releasing some cell phone video that gives a glimpse into what happened in the police-involved shooting earlier in the week.
Don't shoot him!
Cell phone video captured by Keith Lamont Scott's wife shedding light on Tuesday's shooting. His wife telling him to get out of his truck, pleading for police officers not to shoot her husband. The actual shooting cannot be seen, but you can hear police fire 4 shots. And then you see Scott lying motionless on the ground. Police, meanwhile, still withholding the dash and body camera footage of the shooting from the public.
The video that's been such a part of the citywide, statewide, and now national conversation, I do want to let you know that the State Bureau of Investigation here in North Carolina is in possession of a copy of that video. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department is still the custodian of the original tape.
Scott's family has seen the police video. Police say Scott ignored several warnings to drop a gun before he was shot and killed by an officer. However, some at the scene say Scott was holding a book and not a weapon. Last night's demonstrations remained relatively calm compared to the chaotic scene the night before, where police and demonstrators violently clashed. That CVS remains open for business, even though it sure doesn't look like it. Meanwhile, a curfew remains in effect for this evening. The state troopers, the National Guard, and the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police all remain on standby through at least Sunday. In Charlotte, Joel Waldman, Fox News.
Sources say Ted Cruz plans to back Donald Trump for the presidency. The move comes after a primary season filled with personal attacks and hostile remarks. Cruz has said his focus is to defeat Hillary Clinton, so his support of Trump may not be a surprise to some. The details of Cruz's endorsement are not yet clear.
A federal judge has ordered the State Department to release emails recovered from Hillary Clinton's private email server. The department will have to process 1,000 pages of emails between now and the election day. The judge's order is part of a lawsuit brought by the conservative legal watchdog group Judicial Watch.
Tesla filed a federal lawsuit today challenging the state's rule on selling cars at a company-owned store. Tesla's CEO says if Tesla had to use independent dealers, its cars would get sidelined by salespeople who also sell gas-powered cars. Utah has a similar law about cars being sold through independently owned car dealerships. So far, Tesla has won its battle in 23 states.
Well, typically when we have weather like we did yesterday, it kind of moves on, and that's about all we have. But today we still have more rain. A lot of that funnel cloud spotted down in American Fork.
Yeah, it's been active once again today. Yeah, the funnel clouds, no tornadoes touching down. Haven't seen much lightning or hail. Winds not too bad, but the rain definitely sticking around, and rain turning over into snow. We're going to show you some snowy pictures and video coming up in just a bit. But first, let's reflect back on those tornadoes. We've got the report today throughout the afternoon from the National Weather Service where they gave the official classification of both those tornadoes in Washington Terrace, as we mentioned earlier on, and in Panguitch EF1, where winds in those tornadoes can reach upwards of 110 miles per hour, in which we typically see roof damage, maybe structural damage, and that was the case, and theirs was the classification. Now, the strongest tornado in Utah ever reported, F3. So still, though, having 2 tornadoes, F1, and that damage in one day, that is a sight to see. And yeah, we're holding on to that storm. It's not as severe, producing rain showers along the Wasatch Front, as you can see at the airport looking off. Rain falling right now, 48 degrees. Temperature is quite a bit cooler. These are temperatures we typically see in the middle of November, so winter-like. And pressure is actually holding steady. And with, of course, rain in the valleys and temperatures dropping, snow up in the mountains, we're seeing snow levels drop down to about 7,000 feet, but accumulating snow really sticking to the ground above 8,500 feet, where up in the ski resorts we've already picked up 4 to 5 inches and a few more inches expected overnight. So it is going to be cold in your headlines. Yeah, a lot cooler today. Rain will be sticking around, at least for now. The big question is, will it linger on throughout the weekend? But for the National Weather Service, we do have a winter weather advisory in place, as you can see, for these counties across northern Utah: Cache, Davis, Duchesne, Morgan, Rich, Salt Lake, Summit, Utah, Wasatch, and Weber counties. We're talking the mountains, again, above 8,500 feet. Expected maybe a few more inches of snow. Now, taking a look, we are seeing the rain in the valleys across Utah County. Not as heavy, but it's beginning to fill in a little bit more from Point in the Mountain down to about Orem. Expect to see that rain continuing on as you look at the darker greens, which is incorporating Salt Lake over Tewill valleys. Those are heavier showers. Now, the yellow indicates some heavy showers as they're pushing from the north to the south, so keeping it active. Now, we'll see a little bit of improvement a little bit later on, but expect to see the showers again most of the evening, overnight as well, as we'll see this pushing of colder air from the north, wraparound moisture from the storm system. It's just not quite letting go, but it will. Now, I mentioned the snow. Here's some estimates from our models here for the mountains of northern Utah, where the focus, again, some of the higher terrain, like at Alta, maybe an additional close to 5 inches of snow by tomorrow morning, where that winter weather advisory will then be expired. So traveling in some of the mountain passes, that will be a concern tonight throughout tomorrow morning. But take a look at tonight's lows as we'll hold onto the clouds, so temperatures not dropping too much, but still it's cool. 40s along the Wasatch Front, 30s in Park City. As we look at central and southern Utah, you'll see partly cloudy skies. So again, the moisture and the showers will be mainly across the north, southwest Wyoming into northeastern Utah as well. Now take a look at tomorrow's high temperatures. We're going to be in the 60s in Salt Lake City. Low 60s in Ogden. We're about 15 degrees below normal. Now we're going to see partly cloudy skies for northern Utah. Showers early. I'm talking 6, 7 o'clock. We get rid of the rain, and then we get to see some sunny skies throughout the afternoon, but clouds will stick around throughout the morning. But for southern Utah, an enjoyable sunny day. Clear skies and temperatures not bad at all. 78 expected high in St. George. Then we get up to the 80s on Sunday. 80s Monday and Tuesday. Now there is a little disturbance rolling through southern Utah with the possibility of some isolated showers Wednesday and Thursday. But those showers shouldn't make their way up to northern Utah. So we're clearing things out. Starting off in the morning, very early we could see a little bit of rain, and then nice sunny weather for the whole weekend. Mid-60s by Sunday, mid-70s by Tuesday, getting back into the 80s by Thursday and Friday. So say goodbye to this stormy weather, and I think a lot of people are happy to do so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Breck, thank you.
Bringing in a little magic to their music. Coming up, when you can see the Utah Symphony combine forces with Harry Potter.
Welcome back. Fall premiere week continues this week on Fox 13 with a fan favorite returning, plus Bob. a new thriller.
Say it isn't so. Hell's Kitchen will be joined by The Exorcist tonight in prime time. Fox's Adam Housley has a preview.
Are you ready? Yes, sir! Fox's Friday night lineup kicks off Chef Gordon Ramsay's 16th season of Hell's Kitchen, followed by the TV version of the 1973 classic horror film, The Exorcist.
You're afraid? Yeah, you should be too.
This is not a remake or a reimagining. This is the same world. It's just like now 40 years later or something, and it's, it's happening to a different family, and then it's going to just get bigger and bigger.
The challenges you'll be seeing this season are some of the greatest we've ever had. And the rewards are some of the most exciting ever. Downside, the punishment is 10 times worse than we've ever punished them before.
Chef Ramsay put together a really good lunch for you. Fish guts.
Gordon gave us a preview of what the chefs are competing for this season.
The prize is outstanding, life-changing, $250,000 for first prize, and then the most amazing job at Yardbird in Vegas. For a young chef today, it doesn't get any better than that.
There is something inside my house. It's a demon.
And expect the unexpected in the 10-part airing of The Exorcist, as Geena Davis plays a mother of 2 young adult girls who asks the local priest for help when she thinks her house is possessed.
I am not a crazy person. When I accepted the role in the trades, the headline was Fox compels Geena Davis, which is another catchphrase from the movie.
You're being manipulated by forces you can't even begin to understand.
There's some fascinating stuff that we find out, but we see much more about how this this happens and what it looks like, but also it kind of expands beyond our family as we go on. It becomes a much bigger
swath of
crisis of evil. Yeah.
What can you tell me about demonic possession?
In Hollywood, Adam Housley, Fox News.
The 16th season of Hell's Kitchen kicks off right.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Right here on Fox 13 at 7 o'clock tonight, followed by the series premiere of The Exorcist. Then join us for Fox 13 News at 9.
U.S. stocks fell today along with oil prices. Those tumbling oil prices pulled down shares of energy companies. The Dow closed down 131, NASDAQ down 34, S&P fell by 12.
Panera Bread is hoping to attract a more health-conscious crowd with its new clean bacon. It's made with only 6 ingredients: pork, water, sea salt, sugar, celery powder, and thyme extract. Panera says they've removed all artificial preservatives, flavors, and colors. They're also using only meat from pigs that are raised on a vegetarian diet without antibiotics.
Ooh. Investors want Volkswagen to pay for last year's emissions cheating scandal. They say the company should fork over $9 billion with a B dollars to compensate for investors' losses. About 40% of the company's market value was wiped out. A year ago, Volkswagen admitted to fitting nearly 11 million diesel cars with software that could cheat emissions tests. VW is already paying $15 billion to compensate people who bought the cars.
Analysts aren't sure what to make of a drop in home sales last month. Experts think a continuing inventory shortage is pushing prices higher. National Association of Realtors says sales of existing homes fell almost 1% in August. That's the second straight monthly decline. The number of homes on the market is 10% lower than at this same time last year. That's pushing average prices up to $240,000.
A discovery at a Salt Lake City elementary school has parents on edge. How investigators think several children got their hands on marijuana-laced brownies.
Some students were right here outside in Riverdale when the tornado hit yesterday. Coming up, they share the traumatizing experience with me.
And he's accused of lighting several fires in Utah or in Salt Lake County. How investigators tracked down this arson suspect.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Live at 5:30.
Wow, look at this. Severe weather moved in quickly to yesterday afternoon, bringing a tornado and straight-line winds to northern Utah. Now, the storms caused severe damage throughout northern Utah.
Washington Terrace was one of the hardest hit areas. Governor Herbert toured the damage this afternoon. Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher is in Washington Terrace this afternoon as well. Lauren.
Right, Bob and Hope. As the governor came through here this afternoon, he said he was encouraged to see just the incredible amount of work happened here today. Now, as Herbert walked around, he learned that hundreds of volunteers came out here this morning to help, even bringing clothes and food to residents volunteers. While the destruction is still pretty apparent home to home after that tornado tore through this area, it's that spirit of community he says he was so inspired by. Governor Herbert says he also learned today the emergency operations and response to this tornado yesterday went as well as you could expect in this situation.
I'm encouraged the fact that we have such a seamless operation from the state to the county to the cities with the private citizen that steps up and volunteers in a significant way. And that gives me encouragement that we're doing things correctly. And so whatever the future brings for us, we'll be ready.
A dozen families are homeless here this evening, cannot return to their homes, but the cleanup will continue. In fact, you can see crews are still out here this evening fixing power poles. Crews are also boarding up homes, going inside homes, just trying to make this area safe so families can come back out here and eventually begin that deeper cleanup of their homes that were destroyed in the tornado. Live in Washington Terrace, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Yeah, it looks like we're having a little bit of trouble there.
With that signal, yeah. Well, some students at the Utah Military Academy got too close for comfort with the tornado that hit Weber County yesterday.
Yeah, they were outside at the time, and some tell Fox 13 they were actually lifted off the ground by the storm. Fox 13's Dora Scheidel joins us live from Riverdale with their amazing story. Dora.
Bob and Hope, this used to be a tree. You can see now it's just a pile of mud. The tornado took it, and a group of students were actually holding on to that tree before they were able to get indoors.
Motivated, motivated, downright dedicated, first to stand, last to fall, Blue Rangers beat 'em all.
It was just another day for a group of students at the Utah Military Academy. They were outside for a training run in the afternoon when the wind started to pick up.
Wind was blowing and I could feel the leaves hitting me in the back like rocks.
They say that's when a tornado formed right in front of their eyes.
I got picked up and thrown back and I hit my head on the cement and someone knocked me out.
And Braden wasn't the only one.
I actually got picked up in it and got spun around, smashed to the ground a couple times.
When the storm let go of the boys, they ran to a nearby tree with the rest of their classmates.
And while I was holding that pine tree, it gets lifted out of the ground. I feel a vibration, but I'm already in shock. Keep holding, what I was told. Keep holding, don't let go.
That tree ended up falling on Sincere's arm. Luckily, he walked away with nothing more than a hairline fracture. Doctors told Braden he had a minor spinal injury, a bruised pelvis, and concussion. Bryce just got some cuts and bruises. Nothing compared to what they thought would happen.
I saw my life flash before my eyes a couple times, which really scared me. Just thinking about I'm gonna die.
I was really just thinking about my family. I was worried that I wasn't going to see them or that I wasn't gonna come out alive.
The group ended up taking cover at Joann's fabric store, a decision that saved their lives.
All the trees are gone, so if we stayed there any longer, we wouldn't be here.
There was no damage to the school itself, but more than a dozen cars did have broken windows. Reporting live from Riverdale, I'm Dora Scheidel, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Dora, that's a story that those kids are not going to forget soon, I got to tell you. Dora Scheidel reporting for us. Thank you so much.
The most destructive forces in nature are wind and water, and we've talked a lot about wind so far, but it's water that's pummeled eastern and central Utah. Fox 13's Max Roth has been looking into just how much has overflowed Utah rivers and streams.
Yeah, Hope, you know, water overwhelmed the rivers in eastern Utah. It's amazing. Breck has some information about how many inches fell in these areas, but we're going to show you something incredible that happened in Price. We're going to get to that, but we're going to start in Roosevelt. Take a look at this graph. You're looking at that blue line, and this shows the Uinta River. That's just north of Roosevelt. It was flowing at 70 cubic feet per second at midnight yesterday. Now look at this. This is just after midnight today. the river had grown 10 times that size to 700 cubic feet per second. Why does that matter? Because then this happens to our viewers. From backyards to city streets to businesses and homes, serious flooding hurting our fellow Utahns there in the Roosevelt area. Okay, well, before this storm hit yesterday, the Green River, one of the biggest rivers in Utah, was already flowing at 2,000 cubic feet per second in Uinta County. But then look at today. It more than doubled in size. A big river already, from 2,000 to 5,000 cubic feet per second flowing. How does that happen? Well, you look at this video. It happens when flash floods like this pour out of surrounding canyons into the Green River, more than doubling in size. Now, this is the most amazing thing. The Price River, now the low point there on Wednesday, 3 cubic feet per second. Let's put that in perspective. This mini fridge you're looking at, that's 3.3 cubic feet of mini fridge right there. That's how much water you'd find at any given point on the Price River on Wednesday. Now look at this morning. More than 8,000 cubic feet per second flowing in the Price River. Take a look at the shipping container. Okay, that's 40 feet long, 20 feet high, pretty big, right? Well, multiply that by 4. 8,000 cubic feet equals 4 giant shipping containers. And what does that look like when you're talking about water? This cell phone video, thank you very much, Kevin Acey, for giving this to us. That is the Price River this morning. And when you look at that, you can see that the Price River was flowing so hard. A lot of folks are dealing with flooding. They're in Carbon County, in Uinta County. Really something to think about. You know, the tornadoes have gotten so much of our attention, but some serious stuff happening in other parts of Utah. Now, for most of the day today, you look at those numbers, the Price River was bigger than the Green River, bigger than the Colorado River. The Price River that was flowing at 3 cubic meters or 3 cubic feet per second before, it was the biggest river in Utah. We're going to go back to you, Bob and Hope.
And it was because of all the rain. This storm had it all. The winds, the hail, the lightning, of course the tornadoes, the flash flooding, the flooding across the state. And guess what? The storm's still lingering across at least northern Utah. We're seeing some rain showers. Speaking of rain, Matt's talking about referencing some of the big precipitation amounts as we show you here from the storm over the past 60 hours. Look at some of these storm totals. Sunnyside. Now, this is where Max was talking about over in Carbon County. Almost 5 inches of rain. Roosevelt, just over 3 inches. Kanab, 2.5 inches. Almost 3 inches in Tremonton. Logan, just shy of 3 inches. And Layton, about 1.5 inches. Now, these are some of the storm totals maybe you'd see in the southeast or maybe in Texas. But here in Utah, this is a rare storm indeed. Now, outside right now in St. George, we're holding on to some clouds, but seeing some sunshine as well. Not seeing much shower activity. Southeastern Utah, so much improvement there. And at least from central and southern Utah, we're seeing definitely the storms moving away. Northern Utah, though, it's got its grasp, producing rain showers, as you can see from our Sky Tracker Doppler radar through Utah County, making our way through Salt Lake Valley as well. The darker greens and the yellows indicate heavier showers, as you can see from Kaysville down through Woods Cross into Bountiful near the airport as well. Showers will continue on in your forecast, yes, as we look for the rest of the evening, but will also linger on into your weekend. We're going to talk about that. Plus, we have some snow totals to be discussing, what we're going to see up in the mountains. Those details in just a few minutes.
Fox 13 News for continuing coverage as cleanup continues from the storm. We're going to have updates on Facebook, Twitter, and you can always go to fox13now.com. We're following developing news in Salt Lake City. Some students are recovering today after eating marijuana-laced brownies. Now, this happened yesterday at Lincoln Elementary School in Salt Lake. The school district tells us a student brought the pot brownies to school and either sold or shared them with 7 other students on the playground. 2 of the kids were sick enough they had to be taken to the hospital. We have a crew working on this story. We're going to have an update for you tonight on Fox 13 News at 9. We'll see you then.
A 2-month-long investigation into a series of grass fires in Salt Lake County has led to an arrest. The Unified Fire Authority announced today they have arrested the man they believe to be responsible for 12 different fires. Fox 13's Robert Boyd has more from Harriman, where one of the fires took place.
Well, I'm standing on Leslie Oetker's property, and he was actually victimized twice by this alleged arsonist. Once in July, and then a second time in August. You can see the damage right there behind me. So he's obviously pretty glad an arrest has been made.
Someone that does this type of stuff is just, I don't know if he's asking to be caught necessarily, but he's not doing anything to keep him getting caught.
Leslie Oetker remembers when his property was first set on fire on July 15th. He had just returned from the hospital after surgery.
It was a little bit disheartening. I got home about half hour earlier, and cop knocked on the door, said, "Get out now," and we went around the corner and looked, and we decided to take his advice.
This was the first of a string of intentionally set grass fires to occur in Salt Lake County between July 15th and August 21st. Last night, 46-year-old Brian O'Neill Kelly of West Jordan was arrested. He has been charged with 12 counts of arson, a third-degree felony.
These 12 counts indicate someone who put a lot of people at risk and who definitely needed to be stopped.
No homes or structures were damaged, but it was awfully close.
If that tall grass had been right up against the house, it might have burnt all the way down the house.
According to court documents, the suspect was seen hanging around or leaving the scene of all the fires, which led to his arrest. Can you sleep a little easier at night knowing a person's been arrested?
Maybe a little easier, but like I said, it's nice to know that he's gone. It's upsetting to know there's probably a lot more people like him that do stupid things for stupid reasons.
We also asked Unified Fire Authority if they think this suspect may be responsible for any other grass fires that he's yet to be charged with. They don't believe that's the case, but they are still investigating. In Harriman, Robert Boyd, Fox 13 News, Utah.
They are known for world-class music. Now the Utah Symphony is bringing something else to Abravanel Hall. Details after the break.
And later in sports, RSL hosts the King of the MLS Mountain, a preview of tomorrow's game with FC Dallas. And the Pac-12 will soon ignite. Utah and USC this evening up on the hill. Jeff Rainier is on hand at Rice-Eccles Stadium to preview that game. Back in a bit.
This is Fox 13 News.
More than 1 million Americans have type 1 diabetes, and one of them is a person that you see right here on Fox 13 News.
Danica Lawrence was diagnosed as a teenager. Now, she'd like you to know a little more about the condition and how you can help.
It is so scary when you first get diagnosed.
For Danica Lawrence, the scare came at age 13.
Type 1 diabetes is when your pancreas stops working.
A healthy pancreas creates a hormone called insulin, which regulates blood sugar.
Another way to look at it is insulin is the key to get into the house, and the house is the cell. And with type 1 diabetes, you don't have the key. You just can't find the key to get into the house.
High and low blood sugar levels can have terrible side effects.
You can lose your eyesight. You can lose a limb. You can damage your kidneys terribly.
Danica checks her levels several times a day.
We're following breaking news out of Orem.
When anchoring the news, she checks during commercials.
I get that great adrenaline, which I love, which is part of the job, that adrenaline rush. But sometimes that adrenaline rush can also make me think, this also feels like I'm low right now. I might be having a low blood sugar. It's sometimes hard to tell the difference.
If her levels are really low,
I use an insulin pump. I hide it in my bra. It's pretty convenient. You can't quite tell. I program the pump to let it know exactly when I need insulin, how many units of insulin I need every single hour.
Hour by hour, day by day. It's the best Danica can do until there's a cure, something she's working toward with the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation.
I was asked to be a part of the board of directors here. It was a huge honor for me. I was so excited to be a part of it and just bring my experience, my knowledge, and kind of this awesome platform working for Fox 13.
Fox 13 is sponsoring the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation's One Walk. It's tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at Liberty Park. You can walk alongside Danica, and if you can't make the walk, you can still make a donation online. Type 1 diabetes typically starts in childhood, but not always. Our chief editor, Meryl Page, who edited the video you just saw, was just recently diagnosed.
One of the top haunted attractions in Salt Lake City is getting some national attention. Fear Factory was ranked as the 3rd scariest haunted house in the country in a recent article on BuzzFeed. Last year, Travel Channel named it one of the best Halloween attractions in America. Fear Factory is located in an old cement factory in Salt Lake City. For more information about it and other spooky attractions in Utah, go to fox13now.com.
Music and magic will combine at Abravanel Hall later this year when the Utah Symphony brings the first Harry Potter movie to life. December 23rd and 24th, the Symphony will show Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The orchestra will perform the soundtrack live. The Symphony plans to present all 8 Harry Potter films over the next several years. To get tickets for December's performance, go to fox13now.com. That should be cool.
It should be very cool. It should be a lot of fun. As far as the walk goes tomorrow morning, I'm hoping that the weather's going to cooperate just a little bit.
Little iffy. I think it will be okay, but you know, with the storm still hanging around, still seeing a lot of rain activity across the state. Snow as well up in the mountains, and yeah, it's slowly moving across northern Utah as it makes its mark, at least for right now. Heavy rain showers, at least in portions of Weber and Davis County. Here's a live look from our studio. Looking off along the Wasatch Mountains. You can't see the mountains. You can see the rain showers, I should say, and current temperature is quite cool. We're at 48 degrees, winds out of the north at 7 miles per hour now, as winds have been coming in from the north, bringing in that cold air. Pressure's been holding steady, at least for now, but I'm talking snowflakes now at the mountain camera. As you can see, this is on Farnsworth Peak. This is where our mountain camera is at on the Oquirrh Mountains. Looks like snow accumulating there on the ground there. Maybe 2-3 inches as the snow will continue to fall here for the next several hours. So cold temperatures across the state. Cooler though for northern Utah where the rain, will continue on. The big question is we're trying to answer here is, for the weekend, do we finally push this moisture away? Well, for the National Weather Service, at least overnight, the concern is the snow and the higher terrain where we do have a winter weather advisory. As you can see for these counties specifically, for Cache, Davis, Duchesne, Morgan, Rich, Salt Lake, Summit, Utah, Wasatch, and Weber counties. Snow accumulations above 8,500 feet. Now we're going to see a mixture of rain and snow getting down to about 7,000 feet, but we could see an additional possibility of 3 to 4 inches of snow, which already we've almost gotten up to 5 to 6 inches. So storm total as far as snow accumulations up in the mountains, close to a foot. So that's impressive. This storm had it all. The rain, the hail, the lightning, the thunder, the tornadoes, the flooding, and right now the focus is mainly with the rain. We're not going to see, I don't think, any flooding or severe thunderstorm activity. We're just going to see the rain showers and snow up in the mountains. But some heavy showers currently going on from Ogden down to Woods Cross, looking over near the Great Salt Lake where you're seeing some of the yellows and some of the oranges, which is indicating some heavier raindrops there. As we're looking at this cold air pushing its way through, wraparound moisture with the storm system, slow to move on. It will, though. Let's take a look at our storm tracker here, rotating through the hours, and let's find out what's going on. Starting here this afternoon, going through the evening, by 9 o'clock, showers continue on. So focusing on the University of Utah game, you're going to see rain all throughout the game. Temperatures about 50 degrees. I don't think we'll have much wind or lightning, but heavy rain. So just be prepared as the showers do continue on overnight. You're looking at 4 a.m. Yeah, still holding on the rain even along the Wasatch Front in the valleys. By about 8 o'clock, starting to see clouds and the moisture moving away. So that walk was, I believe, at 7 o'clock. So 7, 8 o'clock. Yeah, it's finally pushing away, but for sure tomorrow afternoon, a lot more sunshine, and we'll keep the storms away for the rest of the weekend and actually for the next several days. So 7, 8 o'clock, that's when we're seeing the transition time where the clouds are starting to push away and not seeing that threat of showers. But the threat will be there tonight, overnight for northern, eastern Utah, central, southern Utah. Looks like partly cloudy skies. Some cool temperatures, though, getting down into the 40s along the Wasatch Front, 35s in Salt Lake City. And then looking towards tomorrow, cool temperatures about 15 degrees below normal. Looks like low 60s in Salt Lake City, 58 in Price, 60 in Vernal. Nice 78 degrees in St. George where we get rid of the storms and a lot of sunshine on tap for the Dixie area through the weekend. Looks like mid-80s by Tuesday and then some weak showers Wednesday and Thursday. And for northern Utah, 60s for the weekend. Again, that push away tomorrow morning. Monday looks to be great, 78 on Tuesday, and looks like mid-80s by the middle of next week.
There's a good chance come December 2nd that whoever wins the Pac-12 South will look back on tonight's game at Rice-Eccles Stadium and say to themselves, I'm sure glad we won that game or we would not be playing for a conference championship. If Utah had beaten USC last season at the Coliseum, the Utes would have played Stanford for a Rose Bowl bid. Fox 13's Jeff Rainier is on hand to preview what is expected to be a wet one tonight. Jeff?
Yeah, you got that right, Morgan. It is wet, should be raining all night, but these players, a lot of them out here already warming up. They know they're going to play. Whether there's lightning, they might stop it. Otherwise, this game is on tonight. You mentioned big game for both teams. 36 players on Utah's roster are from California. And for a lot of those guys, including starting quarterback Troy Williams, they'll be playing against the team they grew up cheering for.
Growing up a kid in LA, we're all SC fans. The Reggie Bush era, Matt Leinart, all those guys, Mike Williams. So, we were big USC fans coming up, and of course, everybody wanted to go to SC. I didn't have that opportunity, so it has a little bit of fire, but it's nothing like nothing personal, anything like that. But it has a little bit of fire, just knowing that maybe I wasn't good enough to go there. Just try to, show them what I can do. But, I'm just glad to be here. And like I said, we all grew up SC fans, so it means a lot, being from LA.
Yeah, this weather could play a huge factor, especially with turnovers. We'll see if that determines who wins or loses tonight's game. Live from Rice Echo Stadium, Jeff Rainier, Fox 13 Sports Utah.
Thanks, Jeff. Back-to-back losses by RSL has created an 8-point gap between them and first place FC Dallas in the West. But a win at Rio Tinto tomorrow night would deliver Real Salt Lake their second win over Dallas in just over a month.
They're just a well-oiled machine right now. It seems whatever they're doing, it's working. The good thing is I really think we had one of our best performances against them this year, and we were aggressive. Diaz didn't do very much. Barrios didn't do it very much, and we're going to have to make sure that those two players don't do anything against us.
Is also expected to return to RSL after sitting out the last 2 games with a quad pull. And Jimmer Fredette would give anything to play in the NBA again, but in the meanwhile, he's soaking up this whole China experience for all it's worth. Jimmer, who signed with the Shanghai Sharks last month, dropped 31 in his China Basketball Association debut. The BYU legend was 5 of 7 from 3, added 6 boards, 3 steals, and 3 assists as well. It's like playing in high school again. He's dominating like he was at BYU and in high school.
It's fun to see him being successful there.
Yes, it is. We'll see if it continues.
All right, Morgan, thanks.
Be right back.
We're not going to dry out anytime soon.
At least not for tonight, but tomorrow, yes. So look forward to that sunshine and golfing weather.
All righty. Thanks, everybody, for watching Fox 13's Live at 5.
We'll see you back here for Fox 13 News at 9.